Hello, Antonia Rolls here again. I'm making a series of short videos navigating the landscape after the loss of someone from suicide, addiction and overdose. I lost both my sons to addiction and suicide, and it's a landscape I never dreamed I would ever have to walk, but I am walking it, and I'm not alone. There are plenty of us. That's the thing that I understand now, that there are many, many, many of us who've lost someone we love to suicide, addiction, and overdose. So today, I'm not actually in a very good place. I'm okay, but I've just also had a radical hysterectomy through having endometrial cancer, and it feels like um, a chapter has finished in my life, a total, almost like the first volume, or maybe a volume of my life has finished. Both my boys are dead, and now my womb has gone. I am very lucky because I was looked after so well, and I now am cancer free, but I'm walking around recovering brilliantly, yes. Being looked after by family and friends, yes. Very fortunate, but there's this little nagging feeling that something's wrong. And I think it's because my womb is gone. I think it's because my whole equipment for being a mother has gone. Now I don't need it. I'm going to be 65 this year. So obviously I don't need it, but it still was mine, and the boys came from there. I have a daughter and 4 grandchildren and the most wonderful son-in-law. I'm very lucky for that. I have 1 child living, and she has 4 of her own, she and her husband. So there is life around me, and she escaped somehow the dark thing that got my boys. And I think that I'm struggling a little bit as well, because there's something that's not quite right, is that the boys are gone as well. It's like one loss when Kostya, who was 29, died in 2023. And then there was another loss when Dmitry died in 2024. And then there's my womb that's lost in 2025. And it's like a triple whammy. Now, I always talk about seeing the light, and I say that all the time. The light is stronger than the dark. Always look for the light. Be careful where our minds go, and be careful what we think of, because we create our reality. And in this grieving for my boys, I've decided to look for that light and to not dwell in guilt and regret. And yet I do. I go there. And then I realize I'm there and I have to come out of it. And I sometimes find the things that I use to come out of guilt and regret don't work very quickly. One of the things that I do is to look for a source of light and look at it and remember that the light is there. You know, today there is so much sunlight, it's beautiful. And I can remind myself of the light by looking at the light and saying, I can't really do much more. I haven't got the sense in my head to articulate what's happening. I just need to see some light. And the other thing is to become present, to leave the past and to leave the future, because the past is over, the future hasn't happened. But you know, we can't be told that when we're lost in recollections. And I've found that I can't look back on my past with my boys. and see any good in it at all. All I can see is my failings and things that I should have done, things that I didn't do, and how could I possibly have missed that, and how could I possibly have said this? Right, that's the darkness. That is really the darkness, because I talk also about the darkness. You know, obviously if there's light, there is dark. If there's dark, there's light. And the darkness gets hold of my thinking, and it makes me dwell on things that are not in perspective. I'm not a bad person. I can't have spent all 27 years of Dimitri's life being rotten, and all 29 years of Kostya's life being a wrong mother. That's not possible. But the darkness gets my thoughts, and I go there and I begin to believe it. So that is a hard thing to deal with. And coming back to the present, like I say, does help. I come right back to the present and I think, this is where I am now. Focus on where I am now. So I suppose this feeling of sadness at the moment has taken my energy away. I'm still recovering from my operation. That will make me tired. My body feels different and things feel different, and that is something to get used to. There's always that understanding that both boys are gone. That's very hard, you know. So I feel like today I am in a bit of a lull. I was going to call it a holding bay, because life is never static. We never stay in one condition forever. We're either, you know, I can come out of this, and time I will. There is another thing which helps me, and that's prayer. Since Dimitri died, I have found my prayer life again. I had prayed intermittently and quite strongly for Kostya and for Dimitri, but never really understanding that actually, and this might sound counterintuitive because I'm feeling a bit low, but I've never really understood that I can be answered and that prayer can work. I pray a lot, and I don't sit down and recite prayers. Sometimes I just say, help me. Sometimes when my mind is not working properly and I'm thinking of all sorts of ridiculous things, I say, I'm opening up my heart. And I just open up my heart, and then I say, I'm listening. And I find solace, and I find comfort. That's what I've been doing today. So tomorrow is another day. The sun will still shine tomorrow, and I am still breathing right now. I am alive. And this time of slowness and contemplation and sadness and feeling that something's missing and something's not quite right is part of the healing process. It will pass. I am grateful for my boys, for the time I had with them. I'm grateful that I had a womb and that the womb held the boys and my beautiful daughter, who is a treasure, and all her family. So I'm grateful that I've reached the age of 65 and have had the experiences I've had. Nothing can hurt the boys ever again. It's not the same for me. I'm still here. I can be hurt. But I'm also benefiting from the light, benefiting from prayer, and the gentle answers that I get from prayer. I'm benefiting from my family and friends, and for the fact that I've survived and I shall go on surviving, and this time of recovery will come to an end, and something else will happen, and I will keep going with great love and great compassion, especially for myself, and working hard not to stay in guilt and regret. Yeah, I think that's enough for today. God bless. Bye.